Hola chicos y chicas, soy RKB o espero otro te quiero voy y básicamente yo hago videos para documentar mi vida. Hola chicos y chicas, my name is RKB or spelled the way to car boy and basically I make videos to document my life. Welcome to Love Videos at RKB where like I said I make videos to document my life. So if you're new to my channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, go ahead and like and leave a comment so we can interact. So like I said, today is going to be a Bible study video. We're looking into our 50 eye-opening meditations, take a closer look for women, uncommon and unexpected insights to inspire every area of your life by Jan Kern. Make sure you go ahead and subscribe. So today is Vlogmas day 5. But you guys know I'm pre-recording. Today is actually December 2nd, y'all. Getting this stuff prepared so when the day come all I do is hit that upload button and wait for it to upload. Alright, okay. So let's go ahead and get into a center of seriousness and go ahead and jump into the topic. So today's topic is called Alone with God. I originally did this Bible study January 23rd, 2016 at 9:15 a.m. You guys know I always date it, so it's like a reflection for myself, kind of look into where I was in my life while doing this. So let's go ahead and jump to it. The topic is Alone with God. The first verse that we're going to read is Genesis 32, verses 24 through 26 from the NIV version, and it says, Jacob was left alone, and a man wrestled with him till daybreak. When the man saw that he could not overpower him, he touched the socket of Jacob's hip, so that his hip was wrenched as he wrestled with the man. Then the man said, Let me go, for it's daybreak. But Jacob replied, I will not let you go unless you bless me. So now we're reading the big picture. For a good part of his life, Jacob was more cunning than wise. His name meant supplanter. One night, by a quiet river, God changed that. Jacob was on his way home after a lengthy and not so happy stay in Haran with his in-laws. His father-in-law had tricked him into marrying one daughter and then working an additional 7 years for the one he originally wanted. After many more deals and deceptions, God directed Jacob to return to his homeland. He left secretly with 2 wives, 12 sons, many servants, and a hefty quantity of livestock. That's hard to do quietly. After confrontation and with an angry father-in-law in pursuit, God sent ministering angels to assure Jacob that he would have safety during the rest of his journey home. If only Jacob had remembered that promise. He was about to enter his twin brother Esau's territory. He was understandably terrified. Jacob had tricked him out of his inheritance and their father's blessing. Esau had wanted to kill Jacob, so he had fled. Now Jacob was about to face his brother again. Jacob sent messengers ahead to make peace, but they returned with news that Esau was coming with 400 men. Jacob scrambled to divide his servants and flocks into 2 camps, hoping that some would survive the onslaught. He then cried out to God for deliverance. God reminded Jacob of his promise to make his offspring as numerous as the sand in the sea. That meant that he would make it through. To be sure, Jacob set gifts ahead to soften Esau's heart toward him. Then he settled in to worry some more. That night, Jacob took his family and possessions across the river Jabbok and returned to the other side alone, or so he thought. Suddenly, he was wrestling with a man who had incredible strength. They struggled all night. Just before daybreak, the man touched and dislocated Jacob's hip joint. The battle came to an end, but Jacob clung to the powerful stranger. He realized that it was not a man he wrestled with face to face, but God. And he wasn't destroyed? What mercy! Still to Jacob, it looked like a great opportunity to ask for a blessing. Amazingly, he received one. God renamed him Israel from supplanter to he who struggles with God. Jacob was known for his persistence from birth, an attribute that continually led him to trust in his own wit and strength. At the river Jabbok, he discovered God. So now we're going into the take a closer look, and then we'll be reading from Apply It to Your Life. So take a closer look. Even with God's continued assurance, Jacob became terrified of the perceived threats ahead and took matters into his own hands. A closer look reveals that Jacob believed in God, but he didn't trust him yet. God was willing to take extra and intimate measures to bring him into that trust. This time God came to Jacob in the form of a man, not to comfort and console, but to wrestle. This is the only place the Hebrew word abak, A-B-A-Q, is used in the Old Testament. It's a unique word for a rare and intimate encounter with God. It was physical, mental, and spiritual. Abak, A-B-A-Q, also means to get dusty. If Oh, sorry, I got mixed up there. Ibak also means to get dusty. It wasn't a wimpy tussle, and it wasn't a dream. At first, Jacob didn't realize that he was wrestling with God. He seemed to hold his own for a time, but God always held the power. God demonstrated it when, toward daybreak, he ended the struggle with only a touch, and threw Jacob's hip permanently out of joint. While still entangled, Jacob discovered his opponent's identity. God had purposely drawn Jacob away from the crowds to be alone with him. In that one-on-one extremely physical encounter, God showed Jacob that his presence and his strength can be trusted. So there's a little quote here by J.I. Packer, and it says, "Not until we have become humble and teachable, standing in awe of God's holiness and sovereignty, acknowledging our own littleness, distrusting our own thoughts, and willing to have our minds turned upside down, can divine wisdom become ours." So now we're into the apply it to your life portion. So this is the time I really want you all to tune in and really hear what I'm talking about so you can apply it to your life. And then we'll have how others see it. We'll have the zooming in, which is history. And then we'll jump into those discussion questions. So let's go ahead and jump into apply it to your life. It's human's nature to be independent. Jacob sure had that down. All his life he trusted in his wit to pull him out of a difficult spot. It worked frequently enough to be convincing, at least until he was about to face Esau. That had panicked him. Maybe you found yourself wondering somewhere between, "I can't do it myself," and, "Okay, God, I will trust you." Sometimes it takes practice to learn how to trust the assurance God continually gives. Sometimes it takes more. As with Jacob, God may design a unique one-on-one encounter just for you. It could be a moment in the garden, your hands in the soil, tugging at the weed. Maybe it's an interaction with a child who is resisting your love. Suddenly you feel as if you're looking at yourself. Take notice of whatever gentle lesson God is giving you, and stop struggling against Him. Instead, lean into Him in trust. Thankfully, what you've got coming at you is not only a powerful God, but one who loves you and will do what it takes to convince you that He's worth trusting. That makes the wrestling worth it. So the verse at the bottom is from 1 Peter chapter 5, verse 6 from the ESV version. And it says, "Humble yourselves, therefore, under the mighty hand of God, so that at the proper time He may exalt you." So now we're going into how others see it. E.M. Bounds believed that a one-on-one wrestling with God is essential to your prayer life. Empowered through prayer, he said, quote, Our short prayers all Empowered through prayer, he said, quote, "Our short prayers owe their point and efficiency to the long ones that have preceded them. The short prevailing prayer could not be prayed by one who has not prevailed with God in a mightier struggle of long continuance. Jacob's victory of faith could not have been gained without that all-night wrestling." End quote. And notes on the Pentateuch, Pentateuch, McIntosh considered Jacob's wrestling a turning point, an example of how people can gain a correct view of themselves. Quote, "No matter what we may think about ourselves, nor yet what man may think about us, the great question is, what does God think about us? And the answer to that question can only be heard when we are left alone, away from the world, away from self, away from all thoughts, reasonings, imaginations, and emotions of mere nature, and alone with God. Thus, and thus alone, can we get a correct judgment about ourselves." End quote. Now we're in the zooming in portion, which says like a little history lesson, and then we're jumping right into those questions. So zooming in. The Jabbok, or Jabbok, where Jacob wrestled with God, is one of the main tributaries into the Jordan River. Today, it still originates out of a vigorous spring near the modern city of Amman. It is now known as Zerka or Blue River because of the color of the water. Many consider it to be one of the most picturesque rivers in Palestine today. Jacob and his brother Esau are the first twins mentioned in the Bible. Jacob's ancestors became the Israelites, Esau's the Edomites. Archaeological evidence indicates that the kingdom of Edom was established in the 13th century BC. Tribal chiefs ruled first, and then kings. 8 Edomite kings reigned before Israel named its first king. So now it says, through the eyes of our hearts. So here we are with the discussion questions. So really tune into these questions. Go ahead and take a moment to pause me if you need to, and write with me or write the questions down, and you can do them later. Sometimes God comes to comfort you. Other times he comes for a little one-on-one getting dusty. Getting along with God in this way can't help but transform you. So question 1 says, do you ever feel as if you're moving through your days on your own? Find a favorite cozy spot to think about this. How might you invite God to join you? So if you don't know, and if you're new to this segment I have on my channel, like I said, I bought this book from a thrift store, and there's this other lady's answers in here, which I do read, but I do not include any names she puts, which she didn't. But I'm going to read hers first, and then I'll read y'all what I put. So remember, I did this back in January 23rd, 2016. So, yeah. So she said, praising God and acknowledging he has a plan. He knows what's best for me. And then I said, dedicating every morning after I thank God for waking me up to take some one-on-one with God. Question number 2. God is definitely worth trusting. During your times alone with him, in what ways do you assure you that this is so? How is he doing that right now? And she put, when I look back at the past, I see how his plans unraveled in my life and how everything happens for a reason. And I put, my past has always been favored. He has honestly never let me down. Question number 3. It takes practice to remember God's promises and to act on them in a moment of panic. What are your natural reactions? How can God help you through the next time? And she put, fear. I need to give my anxiety and problems to God. God already knows my plan. And I put, same. I tend to worry about things. So yes, y'all, that is the end of this Bible study for day 5. Take a closer look along with God. So maybe your homework for the week can be, try to dedicate at least, let's say, because you know we live a very busy life. Let's say, can you do 10 minutes with God? Then you can increase to 30, or you can start at 5. Let's do 5 minutes with God. Well, that's just prayer or talking, and then you can upgrade to 10 minutes, 15, 20. 30. Sometimes I like to just get up in the morning and do it then. Like get up once I get up and freshen up a bit, do it right then in there. Whether that's playing some gospel music, praying, or doing one of these little Bible studies, something like that in the morning. It just makes it a lot easier for me. Or where you may get up and have to go to work, you can go on your car ride. You can listen to some gospel music or something, or before bed. It just depends on what works for you. Just take some time out every day to be with God, because you never know when your last day is going to come, and how did you spend that last day. So yeah, y'all, adios, chicas y chicas, te amo, stay blessed.